Welcome to the Shutdown Stories episode 12. I'm here with LA Dodgers minor league pitcher Jake Cantleberry. Jake, thanks for coming on, man.
No problem.
So what has quarantine been like for you so far? It's obviously been about 2 months now since you guys were told that spring training was off and the season was being postponed. What have you been up to?
Pretty much just training. I'm thankful enough to have. We have a large barn type thing here, and I had put in a whole weight room right before everything started shutting down. So I remember right when everything started, the gyms in California and everything was getting closed down. So I was like, because I came home from spring training, so I'm back in Indiana right now. So I was like, maybe it'd be a good idea to kind of hop on Facebook Marketplace and offer up and kind of find some squat racks, dumbbells. I built a mound. So I got about everything I need. So it's just been trying to keep up with my training as much as possible, trying to make it as game-like as possible with keeping kind of the volume of the training high and throwing volume pretty high. But it's been just about as eventful as for everyone else as for myself. Just been home. It's been kind of nice being able to see family for the first time in about 4 years, just being away with playing baseball and off-season training and all that. So it's been nice to be home for longer than a week for the first time in the last 4 years. So, but other than that, not too eventful. I mean, I've seen a couple of buddies that are home from college baseball, but not much, just about as much as I could do.
Yeah, you mentioned with your training, you're trying to keep it as game-like as possible. How do you do that with the mental side of pitching? Because obviously it's a massive mental game. It's not just how hard you can throw the ball or what pitches you have or your location. It's all about your mindset. But what are you doing to keep that tight?
Yeah, so I was transitioned during spring training into a starting pitcher. So mentally, I'm trying to keep everything on a 5-day rotation. So I'm treating a start day per se as a start day mentally. And that's obviously going to be a very high volume throwing day. And I kind of just take into account how well I did that day and kind of transition to that, how that would be like compared to a game day. So I try to match the focus in the training, which is hard to do. It's hard to kind of simulate what an actual game's like, especially at the level that we play at and stuff. But just more than anything, trying to really lock in during my training hours of making it as game-like as possible. Like that'll be sequencing. I'll make lineups. I'll look over lineups a lot, like of past games and stuff. Kind of work sequencing, fake situations. I'll work on because I have a mound here, so I can like throw bullpens and stuff. So I'll fake a situation. I'll like make up counts, like what do I throw here, try to execute that. So it's just trying to make it as game-like as possible and trying to kind of match my routine mentally and physically as much as possible.
And you mentioned that you got kind of ahead of the game on getting on Facebook Marketplace, putting together a whole weight room in the barn, and also building yourself a mound. What kind of advantage do you feel like that gives you when some other players might not have access to the same types of equipment?
Yeah, so I definitely am treating this as a developmental window. So I'm trying to obviously keep improving as much as I possibly can. Like I would treat it like an off season. I'd say it does give me an advantage. There's a lot of guys obviously that don't have access to even a throwing partner or a weight room or able to throw like on a consistent basis. So it's helping me out, I'd say, over the next couple of years, kind of just keeping me ahead right now. And it's just I've been trying to just push as much as possible. So I think once I come back, I might be more ready than some guys. And I think they're gonna treat it. I think they're gonna kind of pool us based on what kind of access we had to stuff while we were away. So I don't think they're gonna be pushing anybody really hard back that didn't have access to a lot of stuff. But I think I'll have advantage just making this as game-like as possible that I have over the last 2 months.
Readiness has been a big topic of conversation for pretty much everybody as we go through this time quarantine and shelter in place. One of the things that's been talked about is what the athletes will need to come back before the season. because nobody can just jump straight into the season. What do you think that timeline looks like for you and maybe for some of your teammates who aren't putting in the same type of work as you are because of access?
Yeah. So we had some talks. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff up in the air still, but we had some talks about that per se. And I think me personally, it would just be mostly getting accustomed to throwing to like actual professional hitters again. So I think it'd just be getting down because they had talked about a 2-week spring training, like kind of like another spring training.
Yeah.
And I think what for me would just be getting accustomed to throwing to professional hitters again. So maybe a week or two. But a lot of guys too might be put into different pools based on what they had access to. So it might be a little longer for them because obviously you don't want to rush guys that didn't have access to a lot of stuff during this time, and that's going to result in a lot of injuries and stuff. So you obviously wouldn't want to rush those guys. But me personally, I'd say 1 to 2 weeks, just kind of getting a baseball uniform on again, kind of feeling out some stuff to hitters and that kind of area.
What kind of impact do you think it'll have on your continued development to not only have this time away from your entire coaching staff and being able to put in work on your own, but then coming back to that staff when this all ends?
Yeah, so I'm not sure about most teams, but the Dodgers have been very good about keeping us in the loop. We've had about 4 to 5 Zoom meetings a week. We're just like talking baseball. We've had a lot of special guests. In fact, yesterday we had a Zoom meeting with Oral Hershiser for about an hour, so that was really cool. Yeah,
that's awesome.
So the Dodgers obviously have a very rich history, so we've had a lot of special guests kind of highlighting that. So that's been a lot of fun, and they're just keeping baseball in our mind. We've been talking with our coaches still, training staff still. So I think mostly it's just being in person is obviously a lot different. And I think a lot of teams aren't really taking advantage of that like the Dodgers are. So I'm blessed to be part of that organization. But definitely it's still hard. Like it's still hard not being in person because like it's just like, especially with sports, like there's like every single day you're in the weight room or on the field, you're getting like hands-on coaching and hands-on development. So it's a lot different, but at the same time, they're doing the best they can right now to keep us in the loop with things.
Are they telling you anything about a possible return? Has the league met about anything concerning that? I know the NBA started to do it last week, but I haven't heard anything about the MLB.
Yeah, I have no information really on that right now. I'd heard that possibly some teams are starting to get the 40-man guys down around the spring training complexes in the next month or so, and the training staff just in small groups. So I'm not exactly sure on the details with that, but I think it is trending towards hopefully having an MLB season soon. So that's a good thing for sure.
Yeah, that's what everybody wants at this point.
Absolutely, yeah.
So speaking of having the MLB season, another thing that's been thrown around is playing games in empty stadiums. What would that be like for you? How would that affect you or other players?
Yeah, I think it would affect everyone differently. I think for me personally, like we had talked, I played at JuCo. I played at a JuCo for 2 years, and I played at a good JuCo. It was a lot of fun and stuff, and we had a very good team. But there's a lot of days that you're pitching in front of 0 fans and about 5 to 10, 15 scouts. So I'm pretty used to it. Some guys that went to a big Division I school for 4 years, and I got a taste of that with my 1 year at Mizzou, but a lot of guys who went to those big Division I schools for 3 to 4 years might affect them a little more. And I think what could be interesting too to see with empty stadiums is I think it might be a little more of a level playing field. The home advantage isn't going to be as strong. A lot of players that may struggle in the spotlight may thrive, and a lot of teams may thrive just in general, kind of having that even playing field and not necessarily home field advantage or the atmosphere of it.
So going to JuCo for a few years at San Jac obviously had a huge impact in your career and your life. What was that like? I mean, not a lot of people know about the JuCo culture around baseball, but it's really massive. A lot of the best athletes go through JuCos before they go to the big time. How do you feel like that shaped you as an athlete and as a man?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, JuCos obviously, I'd say it's in baseball, it's definitely the biggest. Like just as far as the talent you see, like top level JuCos, there's multiple. I mean, I think my freshman year, Chipola and us like led the country in draft picks, like over all the other Division Ones and stuff. So like, there's a lot of talent, obviously, and at the top level JuCos, it's very good competition, and you're gonna be playing a lot of fun tournaments and stuff. And but I think overall is like my senior year of high school, I had gotten some Division One offers and stuff, and it was kind of me going there was kind of just like betting on myself and betting on like my performance, and I think that gave me a lot of confidence in myself. Um, and over those 2 years, I had some great instruction down there. I got to work with Woody Williams. He's a 15-year big leaguer, awesome pitching coach, and some other awesome coaches down there too. But I think overall, it kind of gave me the opportunity to learn a lot about myself and a lot about my game, and kind of expand my knowledge when it comes to the training and the nutrition and the recovery, and just thriving from that as much as I possibly could. Because you don't have the most resources at a junior college, so it was just kind of it's a lot more effort to kind of learn about those things, and I think that helped me a lot in my career as far as like advancing my knowledge about the game.
Yeah, we'll finish with this one. What is the biggest piece of advice that you would give to a younger athlete who maybe lost a season this year, if they're in high school or college, or they're preparing to try to make that leap to the next level?
Yeah, I think the biggest piece of advice I can give, and it might be cliche, but it's just to attack all aspects of the game and really get after it physically. The higher levels I get every single year, because I mean, I went from high school baseball to junior college baseball to playing the SEC to playing professionally, and the higher up you get, you see the physical tools thrive more in these guys more than anything else. Guys throw harder, guys hit harder, guys are stronger, guys are faster, guys have better arms, you name it. So I think the biggest piece of advice I could give is find somebody that is educated about physically developing athletes, and there's a lot of great programs out there, and just run with that. Obviously, improving your physical tools is what's going to get you far in baseball. That's why scouts bring radar guns to games. That's why they bring stopwatches to games. And obviously, it's important to be good at baseball, but the more you can get it after in the weight room and advance your arm, your legs, whatever, running, throwing, you name it, it's gonna really make a difference in your performance at that next level. And it shows. I mean, you know how baseball is now. It's very data driven. It's throwing the average fastball in the MLB is harder than it ever has been. You see guys in high school and college throwing hard, running fast, crazy power, crazy exit velocities from the hitters. So I think more than anything, it's important to just advance your physical tools.
Awesome. Well, Jake, thanks for coming on the Shutdown Stories. Hopefully baseball comes back and we can see you out there on the bump soon.
Yeah, me too.
Take care, buddy.